Okay, hello. I am back. I wanted to make just a tiny review on this Roblox game. It's called like VV Ultimatum. My younger brother got me into it, and we used to play. Well, us and maybe one or two other friends used to play a lot of like Bleach centered games together. But I usually like MMORPGs in general, and Roblox just has a tendency of pumping out a lot of them. And this just so happens to be a MMORPG that is Bleach centered, which I think is actually really cool and really fun. Judging from the few things that I have seen and a general idea that I have of it all, it seems like it's super beneficial and can be really fun in terms of treating it like a standard MMORPG. There are some things so far that we've learned from the like beginning of the game, and before we even got to that point, I was just running tutorial a ton. And so this video is going to be a little bit more so aimed at tutorial because this is what I am showing in a video. And this alone was just a completely insane experience. I was running around for what felt like hours, and I think it actually ended up being an hour and a half's worth of time, if not at the very least an hour, where I am running through tutorial like crazy trying to defeat this boss. Now, my brother told me that it's not mandatory for a boss to be defeated. You could end up losing to this boss and just continuing on from there. He said, but if you do defeat the boss can give you some pretty special things. So naturally, I thought, I ought to see this fight through, and I want to see what it is that you can get. I want to see if it's the same drops for everybody. I want to see what all could be different, and I want to prove that I can beat this boss. When it comes to other Roblox games that I've played in the past, one of the largest ones being Deep Woken, in a little more bit of a like a recent time, I would figure that the combat style and mechanics of a lot of games are generally copying that like general scheme, just because it does seem like a lot of games that I have seen a little bit more recently or have heard about either have like some member or somebody from Deep Woken working on the team, or the game will be centered around something like a specific anime and carry over the combat tactics and utilization that you would see in in Deep Woken itself. So I was expecting to be able to come at this from like a Deep Woken standpoint, and oh my goodness, could I have not been more wrong. Certain things do give the general Deep Woken feel, but other things kind of feel like peroxide to an extent, and kind of feel like you are running around combating other players. And well, okay, I'm overstepping, not other players. In this case, it's really right now in this moment just the tutorial boss, and this AI feels like a real player, right? It feels like you are actually fighting somebody who knows what it is they are doing in a game, and that can be a little bit overwhelming when the combo, like the general mechanics, do not repeat themselves. In other words, the boss isn't going to go doing a 3-hit combo and then the next time the boss like does an attack, it's going to be the same 3-hit combo, right? The boss is going to mix and match things up. Certain times the boss kicks me. When it kicks me, it's kind of a stun, but the boss also pushes me away from him. So it gives a little bit of an opening for him to close the distance if he decides he wants to charge something up. Speaking of charging something up, the boss has like 2 or 3 different charge attacks. From what I can remember, one, he spins in like a horizontal like slash and then continues with a vertical. One, I think it's like an overhead slam to the ground. And then there might be one other, but I'm blanking on it right in this moment. And those attacks are brutal. Sometimes I find myself being able to stop those attacks by hitting him before he can officially get the animation off. Other times it feels like he's just going to hit you like regardless of if you hit him while he's doing it or not. There are times in the mix where you probably seen, the boss will lay down like a square made of gold and it looked like yellow fire. And this is really just an indicator to let you know that whatever is about to come, you need to get out of the way because you can't block it. So it's an unblockable attack that is also an area of effect attack, which is just great. But the boss has that miniature version, and then the boss has a larger version. And the larger version, I think, takes a little bit longer to actually land compared to the miniature version. But the larger version also has a larger radius to actually be caught in it. So, I guess it somewhat balances itself out. But something that I realized while fighting this boss is that he can choose to shoot the larger version right after shooting the mini version, which, as you could probably imagine, is a ton of fun. Because if he is coming down, attack after attack, then this is just groovy. Sometimes I find him not even throwing in basic attack swings, but kind of comboing heavier attack after heavier attack after heavier attack. And it's like, oh my goodness, how am I supposed to handle this man, right? Sometimes I found myself getting really like sweet openings where I'm kind of just gliding around him, as if I'm like a merry-go-round and I'm just tapping M1, which is like your basic attack key, and he doesn't block any of it. Other times, it seems like a feint will make him faint even when I'm fainting by accident, which would be when you're getting ready to attack, but then you stop midway, which would be attack and then block, right? Another kind of annoying thing that I picked up from him was that whenever he flash steps, which is when he dashes at you and you can't really see him while he's dashing, when he comes out of that dash, he will do a number of things. He could come out of that dash and then do the unblockable AoE attack. He could come out of that dash and do a kick. He could come out of that dash and start a combo with his basic attack. He can come out of that dash, right? Like the dash is not like 100% scripted that he's going to do the same thing each time. Not even at the beginning of the game where he quite literally dashes at you after you dodge his AoE. Even when you dodge it, he's still like the dash is scripted, but the attack isn't. So it's like you can't really prepare too much for what it is that's going to come at you. And this was just an experience, to say the least. Oh my goodness gracious. While fighting him, something else that was crazy annoying is that like there was a ping kind of issue. That's why at one point of the footage I had my ping on just to make sure. Everything on my end was smooth, but connecting to the server, I guess, was not. And I guess this is instant based, but certain things that I would notice is while fighting him, he might do an attack, but the animation doesn't show. So now I'm getting hit from a guy that's not actually swinging a sword, so I can't parry it. Or he might be blocking an attack, but the animation doesn't show. So I'm wailing on him like, yo, he's super open, I should be able to hit him. And he's standing still with his sword pointed at the ground, just resting in his hand, but he's blocking all of my attacks. Okay. There are times where I would hit him or he would hit me, and for whatever reason, it was some crazy delay, and neither of the hits would connect. Or his hit might connect even though he is nowhere near me. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? There are times where I guess he would catch me in midair, and I would die in midair, just frozen in midair. There were times where I would back up to dodge his unblockable move and run into the invisible wall of the area, which would have me get hit by the unblockable move. Or I would run into a tree while backing up, which would have me get hit by the unblockable move. There are times where the unblockable move would land a little quicker than what it would normally do, and not just in phase 2, but also in phase 1. And even though I dodged out of it, I'm still taking damage from it. Oh man, like there's just so many times. If the game was consistent, even if he didn't copy his combo verbatim, if the connectivity, the general connection with playing was just consistent, it would be a lot easier to actually play through the game and get things done to actually fight this man in tutorial and win. But because it wasn't, eventually, like Deep Woken, I was just trying to teach myself to play with the lag, to play with the delay. Um, and yeah, other than that, my brother would coach me, give me some tips, remind me of certain things. He would make jokes about certain things that I wasn't really for sure if they were actually true in the game or not, but I was still learning all the same. Some cool mechanics I thought there was the clash system. Because there was a delay, I would lose that majority of the time. But the idea I thought was really cool. The boss having a second phase, I also thought was really cool. The boss swings faster than me, so you're kind of like on defense a little more often, unless you can just land attacks pretty constantly. There's a block breaking mechanic where if you and or the boss blocks X amount of attacks from either one of each other, you can break the other one's block and excuse me, it's getting late. You can break the other one's block, and if you do that, then they will sit there and be susceptible to taking hits. And if they are susceptible to taking hits, then you thrive. And in my case, my block was broken so many times that I just was constantly susceptible to taking hits. It was not a ton of fun. Other than that, I would say that probably covers everything in regards to the boss. Oh, every time you die, you have to touch the statue, the monument, the signal again. Excuse me. And watch the boss enter again and then fight again. And if you die again, your little fairy will ask you, hey, do you want to continue again? And if you're mad or in a rush or something, you could end up hitting no and I guess missing that opportunity. So it's actually, you got to kind of keep a level head, make sure you don't overclick and keep yourself in. I think it would be cool to not have to go through the whole thing of watching the boss land and all this extra stuff again. But I guess as like a first time kind of feeling of beating them or a fulfillment of having to sit there and watch it all, maybe that's why. It was cool nonetheless. I enjoyed the general fight. It took a significant amount of time and I was naturally really upset in it all, but eventually I did squeak it out and beat the boss. And I recorded this whole interaction and have it up on my gaming channel where it's not sped up. So if you actually want to see it, it's there for anybody who's curious. But if you don't really want to see it, then to each their own. You can just take it how you prefer, I would say. But yeah, it was a good little bit of fun. I feel like I learned a little bit more about the game, and I would definitely run it again. Now knowing a little bit more, I feel like when you make a new character, I think you're gonna have to. Reddit, I guess, decided that I liked this specific game. Maybe I went looking for something and stumbled across something with Reddit. So Reddit has been feeding me info about this game as of late. So now I'm kind of in the community, seeing what people are saying and catching up on it all. But yeah, all in all, I have genuinely enjoyed it. And I have been working on a character since then and will probably post some more updates on that. Probably more so on the gaming channel than here, just whenever I get the opportunity to. So yeah, I wanted this video to be like not super long, but long enough to kind of share my thoughts on my overall experience and just, let it be known that the gaming channel has things in regards to it as well. But yeah, I suppose that's it. Peace.